Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So today we'll be talking something very important. But before we get into this video, I am going to tell you that this video is in segment, and you all already know that it's African Black History Month, and all over the Twitter, a lot of people are already asking why is it that it's only Black History Month that they have? Why is it that we do not have White History Month? I was expecting this, because it looks like every year they come out with their, manual to start like, saying some nasty things about Black history. And they know already that every day is actually their history. But that tiny 1 month that is set aside to celebrate African Americans or Black history, they still come out to talk about that. They still come out to say what they are not supposed to say. And I am asking, what is wrong with all coming out to do this? And then a white woman is asking, why is it that Black people give white people pass to use the N word? And I want to ask, who gives them the pass to say the N word? Because some of them actually think that proximity to blackness actually make them Black, and for that reason they can use that word. And I would definitely love to say it when they say it to the wrong people, because I have seen some of them saying it to the wrong people and they get the biggest beating of their lives and all that. And it's Black History Month, and I really look forward to that kind of drama. I really cannot wait for them to see something like that, because some of them think like, because they got the pass from whoever, for that reason they can say whatever they want to say to Black people and get scot-free with it. Let's get into this video.
Question for the Black community. Why do some of y'all give white people permission to say the N-word? The reason I'm asking is because I was having a conversation with a white girlfriend of mine last week. I was there in person, her phone rang, and she was like, ooh, hold on, that's mine. And she said, the N-word. I almost died. So I waited for her to get off the phone. As soon as she hung up the phone, I was like, did you just say the N-word? And she was like, yeah. I was like, you don't understand why that's a problem. And her first thing she said to me was, well, Black people have told me I could say it. So if Black people have told me I could say it, then I don't see what the problem is. Now, that being said, I am an anti-racist person, period. Not just on TikTok. Like, I have an anti-racist platform, but I take this shit serious. So, no, I don't give a fuck who gave you permission. No, we don't have the right to say that word, period. And the reason we don't have the right to say that word, period, is the fucking history behind it. And even if some Black people are okay with it, or what, if it's going to offend even one, if it's gonna hurt even one, and if it's gonna get you fucked up by even one, you shouldn't say it. And thankfully, by the end of that conversation, kudos to her, because she heard me. And she was like, you know what, you're absolutely right. I don't have the right to, and I'm never going to use that word again. Like, never. But what made the conversation a little bit difficult is that she really felt like, because Black people gave her the permission to say the word, that she didn't view it as being racist, or she didn't view it as being insensitive, disrespectful, none of that. She just thought it was okay. And it just posed a question in my mind, like, why do some members of the Black community give white people permission to say that word? Because it's just never okay. Like, and then as an anti-racist white person, I have to talk to another white person and explain to them that no, it is racist. Like, it genuinely is, like, not ever okay for you to say that word. I don't give a fuck how cool you are with the people, like, no. And then she asked me, what about your friends? You can't say it in front of them? No. No, the fuck you cannot. I would not suggest it, and if you ever did, it would be nothing I could do for you. Nothing. So it's like you're setting them up for ass whooping, you know what I mean? Because, like, some might be cool with it, but I know way more that they not even gonna ask a question. They just gonna fuck you up as soon as you say it, period. And I don't mean this question to be disrespectful, offensive, insensitive, or anything like that in any way. It's just that's my experience, and I'm really curious. And if you take the time to answer, thank you. I appreciate it. And if you don't, I fully respect that as well.
I'm going to expose the real reason black people use the N-word.
How are you now? Well, let's all listen.
The real reason they use the N-word is not because it's a term of endearment. That's a lie.
Really? Well, I hope this means he did some historical research into the origin of the N-word and the use in the black community and the historical significance.
Here's the real reason. Because they're hypocrites.
Oh, so we're just saying bullshit now. G. Williker, I hope that whatever you point at black people for being hypocritical about cannot be immediately applied to a different demographic in the exact same way.
They use it because they feel it's okay for them to do it, but no one else can do it. Black people kill black people at an 89% rate. Do you see anyone protesting over that? You only see people protesting for white folks killing black people. That only makes up 7%. You see the connection?
No, quite frankly, I don't.
Quite frankly, I don't fucking see how you do either. Most homicides are intraracial. Between 1980 and 2008, 84% of white victims of homicide were killed by other white offenders. In 2018, 81% of white victims were killed by white people. 89% of black victims were killed by black people. In 2017, 80% of white victims were killed by white people. 88% of black victims were killed by black people. When looking at all violent crime in 2020, when there was a white victim, there was a white offender 69.2% of the time. When there was a black victim, there was a black offender 65.7% of the time. When there was a Hispanic victim, there was a Hispanic offender 41.3% of the time.
I guess everyone's a fucking hypocrite because we don't constantly harp on and condemn demographics of people for interracial crime, even though most crime is interracial crime. You know what would make this take doubly fucking stupid? If it turned out that when looking at fatalities caused by use of police lethal force from 17 different states, black people were overrepresented relative to their population. Fatality rate was 2.8 times higher, and black people were more likely than white people to be unarmed. Hence why there's so many protests about police brutality. Hey, you know what would make this take triply fucking stupid?
If it turned out that, hey, shocker, black people don't actually like when they're killed by other black people and they protest over that too.
You see anyone protesting over that? You see anyone protesting over that? Protesting over that? Protesting over that? It's okay for rappers to disrespect black women, but as soon as a white person does it, they seem to have a problem with it.
Hey, you know what would be crazy? If predominantly white musicians singing in predominantly white genres were singing about these exact same things disrespecting women. Like a lot, like a pretty decent amount, like a sizable portion, like a pretty good number, like fairly substantial amounts. But somehow we only hear about when black people do it. Must I remind you what has happened to black men when they disrespect white women? Hey, you know what would make this take even more dumb? If despite the problems that black men have had historically and in current day with disrespecting black women, society is now changing and now people are starting to face backlash for disrespecting black women. Like even anybody disrespecting black women. Like a fair amount of backlash to people who will say dumb shit like this. Like a fair amount of backlash. Like a decent amount of backlash. Like continued backlash. Because it turns out the black community is not a monolith who just thinks it's okay to disrespect black women.
Because liberals have fooled them into thinking it is perfectly fine for you to do something that is destructive to yourself, but no one else can.
JJ here while editing. Literally fucking yes. If I did self-harm because I'm depressed, that doesn't make it okay for other people to come cut me as well. And that's something that's actually harmful. You just decided that the N-word is harmful to black people when they use it.
So in conclusion, black people don't use the N-word.
Because the word has gone under multiple meaning changes, going back to its first English documented usage in 1574, with it originally being described as being used as a more neutral description word, still carrying some passive-aggressive negative undertones, but nowhere near the overt racial slur that it became.
And when many Africans arrived in the Americas and were separated from their countrymen, thus they were amongst people who didn't speak their same language, while also trying to learn a foreign language in English, they picked the N-word up in their lexicon around 1715, due to it being commonly used to refer to people who look like them, and due to the many dialects of Western Africa, this is why we hear it pronounced with an A and not with the ER that it was originally being used with. And as slaves continued to get used to the environment they were placed in and trying to figure out different ways to escape and communicate amongst each other, a counter language began to develop. Because believe it or not, slaves did not have some mindset that they were inherently inferior. They had the mindset of human beings whose rights were trampled on. They also saw themselves as survivors and employed multiple survival strategies, so they fashioned their counter language in ways that only they could really understand, much in the same way closeted gay people did back in the day. So it became a term that Africans used to refer to themselves and their companions in a struggle to survive and keep their identity, which in large part is what it informs in the modern usage today by African Americans. When used among each other, it's meant to convey a cultural sense of meaning, identity, belonging, and surviving in a constantly abrasive environment. The original version that was initially neutral evolved in a much different way, becoming more of a racial slur at the same time as more black people became free, and abolitionism became more prominent, and tying negative social meanings to the word in order to dehumanize black people. Hence why many black people have a problem to this day with white people saying it, because when they did have it and it was a neutral word, they turned it into something used against black people. Whereas black people were using the same word at the same time to convey solidarity and companionship among amongst each other. None of that's the reason. It's because me, who hasn't done a picosecond of research into the history of anything having to do with the N-word, just decided that it's because black people are hypocrites. How does one come to a conclusion like this? Like, it's genuinely
I know that I have a lot of white followers.
Oh, okay. Nigga, get the fuck out of here.
I am proud to be black. I am proud to be white.
Just be in the middle. Yeah, can there be a middle?
Everybody's proud of being black. The white people are confused because if they say they're proud to be white, then they look like racists. And if they say that they're not proud to be white, they're being untrue to themselves. Why is it in our country that black people can be proud to be black, but white people can't be proud to be white?
You know, something about me is that I often worry that I'm coming off way too arrogant, but at this point, when you've had to explain basic English and basic history to so many grown-ass people on this website, can you really blame me for coming off arrogant? Jesus Christ. Brandon, I'm going to assume that you're approaching this honestly, even though I know you're not. But believe it or not, this video isn't even about you. It's about the audience. Because to the hundreds of thousands of you that have liked the original video, does not thinking or challenging your assumptions feel that comfortable to you? Does looking at something that you already agree with and shutting your brain off, even if it's just a Google search away, really fulfill you that much? If it does, here's why it shouldn't. Brandon begins by saying this.
Why is it in our country that black people can be proud to be black, but white people can't be proud to be white?
But conveniently, not even 3 seconds earlier, he says this.
Because if they say they're proud to be white, then they look like racists.
I'm gonna try to go slow for you. Why do you think they'd look like racists if they said that, Brandon? Could it be that the people in the past who were touting white power and white pride were also calling for the extermination or subjugation of minorities? Could it be that the people today who are touting white pride or white power are still calling for the subjugation or extermination of minorities? Could it be that the whole concept of whiteness in itself has been used to exclude people and justify inhumane treatment? I know you didn't want to talk about slavery because it gets you so up in arms.
I get so sick of this, y'all. We literally act like the whole existence of humanity is wrapped around slavery.
But are we going to forget that this whole concept of blackness and whiteness in the United States literally started with the institution of slavery and offering a justification of enslaving people who don't look like you? Have you ever stopped to think why nobody considers Barack Obama as white as he is black? Black people didn't decide that. We had literal codes and laws on the books that determined what race you were based on if you had a drop of black in you, considering you black no matter what your appearance was. And why would they need that on the books? To determine what treatment you got under segregation and Jim Crow, which is the other thing that you guys all forget about? Could it be that white people as a demographic in the United States have never faced any systemic discrimination based off of the color of their skin, whereas literally every other minority group has, which is the exact reason why they have pride in the way they look and the way they are, to symbolize continuing to fight and exist in a structure that was clearly built to not be for them? Could it be that if I were to literally fucking Google white pride, I would see nothing but articles talking about white supremacy and how it's been woven into the fabric of America? Because there has been no reason for white pride outside of justifying further subjugation of minorities, which is again what literally every single white pride movement has stood for in history and today. It's not any of that. It's because Brandon Tatum decided that one day America decided that white people bad, black people good. As if I'm not talking to a man and I'm talking to a damn third grader. Did feminism spawn because one day society decided that man bad, woman good? Or did not having a bank account, not being able to get a divorce, being able to be legally raped by your husband, etc. make it so that people felt as though they were struggling against a system that is quite clearly not built for them? Thus, they should have pride in the identity that the government and the society keeps trying to push down. Again, something that has not happened and will never happen to white people in this country, which is why so many people are very hesitant when you say, are you proud to be white? Brandon, I know this and you know this. You're a grown-ass man. But the thing is, the reason why I get so disgusted whenever I see your content or people like yours content is because we both know that you're shucking and jiving to get money for being the one minority who's comically wrong but standing and supporting white supremacy. You are more than capable of juggling more than 3 complex concepts in your head. Your choice not to is exactly why I said at the beginning that you're not here to engage honestly. Good day.
Hey everybody, it's Black History Month, and make sure you're getting your facts from black people, but I just wanted to share a quick story about how Black History Month 2022 is how I started using TikTok regularly. I was hanging out with a friend after a class that we teach together, and she was saying that people who aren't black really don't understand the degree to which black history is American history, and that it needs to not be a month because it's every single day. And she was also saying that every day we are surrounded and we use inventions by black people and we don't even know it. And she mentioned the 3-position traffic light, folding chairs, and elevator doors, and I didn't know about any of that. So on my drive home from work, I challenged myself to come up with 5 black inventors, and I couldn't do it. So I resolved to learn something about black history and black inventors every day this year, and to do a better job of listening to black people. But I knew not to task my black friends with doing this with me, because it is not their job to educate me. It is not their job to have these conversations with me. It is my job to seek the resources to educate myself. And I figured that TikTok would be a pretty good place to do that, because I could follow the content of people who had done the work to put that out there. And I could get it in these 1 to 3 minute snippets, and that would give me a good starting point for doing further research. And I quickly learned to budget weekly to be able to compensate creators for the work that they are putting in and for the education that I'm receiving. Honestly, if it's something that you're paying for, you are going to literally value it. You are going to remember what you learn, and you are going to integrate it into your knowledge and into your life experience. Another thing is, I wish I could remember the creator who made this video so that I could credit her, but it was a black woman who was saying that if you are somebody who is not black and you follow black creators, check the list of black creators that you follow and make sure that it passes the paper bag test. In other words, make sure that you're not just following the people who look and sound the closest to you. And Asian Americans, this is something that we can really identify with, because Asian Americans are not a monolith, but because of the model minority myth, we are often treated as such, with the educated, affluent East Asian narrative being dominant. So when we talk about uplifting Asian American voices, we have to remember to include people who are outside of the model. South Asians, Southeast Asians, West Asians, men, women, LGBTQ, people with neurodiversity, people with disabilities, Blasians. And it is the same with the black community. You're going to learn the most by keeping intersectionality in mind and following as many people as you can with different lived experiences.
Welcome to Black History Month, the White People Edition. Today we're talking about sundown towns. A sundown town is a town or community where if you're not white, you're not welcome between sundown and sunup, specifically Black Americans. And not only were these towns known by reputation, many of them had signs at the edge of town making their intent very clear. See, these white communities thought that if they did not allow Black Americans to own homes or land in these towns, they would have nowhere to lay their head at night, and they'll have no business being in town past sundown. Now these white folks, they took it real serious. They used the police, vigilante justice, they used arson, all kinds of violence, lynchings, and other heinous acts to unalive people, just to be able to run them off and take their land. And take their land, did they ever? And this isn't just in the South. 39 states had sundown towns in them. And believe it or not, some of these towns still existed into the 1980s in my lifetime. Black history is American history. Have a good day.
White History Month is trending on Twitter, which it is expected. It seems like this extra day of Black History Month has some people in their feelings. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, it's my gut, but I have a feeling that there are going to be people that are going to be even more antagonistic this Black History Month. Anti-Blackness has already been at an all-time high. As of late, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about how Black people are being brought into conversations that have nothing to do with us as a way to shift the actual blame or the harm some different direction. So that's already happening. So now you add in it being Black History Month, and it's a leap year, so we got a whole extra day. And I feel like it's gonna be a little much this month. So with that being said, we've talked before about calling in your peers as part of your anti-racism work and your decolonizing work, and finding ways to carry on the message that you learned from educators here and other platforms. We've talked about that, and that absolutely should continue all year round, not just February. But what I want to invite people to do this month is to focus more on uplifting Black voices, celebrating Black people, and leaving those people that are doing everything in their power to be extra anti-Black because it's Black History Month alone. I've said it before, there are some people that are just committed to not hearing you, not understanding you, and to disrupting any type of work that you're doing. They are committed to doing that, and you can recognize who they are because nothing that you say to them is getting through, and they will just push back, move the goalpost, do everything everything possible to divert attention from what's actually going on. Disrupt the disruptors by celebrating Black people. Again, a year-round practice, but especially this month. Disrupt the disruptors by celebrating Black people. They don't need your attention. Let them starve waiting for it.
So this is all I got from this video and the stitches, and I am going to take them one after the other. It's really amazing how some Black people come out on the internet to make fool of themselves because they have white following. So for that reason, they are going to cheat on their, make a mess of their community just to elevate white community. You are saying, why do Black people talk about, use the N word, and this is a word they use among themselves, and if you are not a Black person, you are not supposed to use it, because then what colored people actually turn it to something else. When you say something to a white colored man and the next thing they open their mouth because they want to be racist and they use the N word on you. And you are asking, why do Black people use the N word? And let's say this. It's time I don't know, but I don't like it when people give people pass over something on some certain things that they are not supposed to get a pass on. Why do you have to give a palm-colored person pass to use the N-word? And one thing with them is when they start using the N-word, they forget that probably the person gave them permission to use it within themselves, and they go out and they think, because this person gave me the permission, so for that reason, I can say it somewhere else. I have seen so many palm-colored people that got serious beating of their lives just for saying it, because they want to try a Black person. It is amazing how people wake up and want to be rude and nasty. I don't want to use the word racism because it is, yes, they want to just be rude. And then they think because they are dating a Black man or because they are dating a Black woman or something like that. So for that reason, proximity to Blackness allows them to use that, right? I love to see when they meet the wrong people. Or one thing is that I keep saying it. One day I hope you come to the hood and say it, And for every other thing and all that, yeah, like it's already Black History Month, and you see a lot of them coming out to say, why is it that there is no White History Month? Are you guys really okay? Are you guys really okay? Like, sincerely speaking, 1 month is not even enough for Black History Month. Or, you all know African American Black history is American history, And the fact that some of them come out to say that, why is it that they do not have White History Month? Because every day is all you guys' history. And then they decided to give Black people just a month to talk about their history. And you all think it is not good enough, or you all are being cheated and all that. And for some of the Black conservatives who come out to say that, why is it that Black people are always proud, but I am proud to be white, or I'm proud to be Black, but white people cannot say I am proud to be white. It is amazing how all these people think, yeah, I know why they do all this, because they are, trying to be on the side of the palm-colored people. I think they are just doing this for click and bets, because I don't see how somebody would you are saying the truth, but you decided not to speak the truth. I think it's just stupidity, You see them all the time, like, saying if they are proud to be white, they seem like racist. But if they're not proud to be white, they seem like this. You all shut the hell up. Shut up. This man has, what's his name again? Tantum or what? I can't remember his name. But whatever his name is, I think it's time they just give Black people a break. And if you want to stand for palm-colored people, go stand with them. But please stop bringing his name is Brandon. Stop bringing Black people into your business. That's all I got to say. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.